Hi everyone, it's Michelle from Tula. Hey, I hope you have your props. We are going to be doing a level 2 and 3 today, so it is more advanced. When we move into a pose, and if I'm doing a pose that maybe is a little too difficult, I'm going to give alternatives so that if you are level 1, you can at least be doing something while we're doing our hand balancing poses. So anyway, let's get started. Go ahead and get on your mat, and we're gonna start in butterfly. So just come all the way back, and I'm gonna have a seat, and we'll bring the soles of the feet together. Okay, so we're gonna hold here in our supine butterfly. If this bothers your knees at all, bring your feet a little more forward, okay? So we don't overdo it in the knee joints. Okay, and then we're gonna sit up nice and tall. You don't have to find the hands to your legs. You can keep the hands beside or whatever feels best. So lengthen the spine here, close the eyes, let your hips open up. Relax the jaw, the lips, and the tongue. As you exhale the next breath, gently drop your chin towards the heart. Feel the back of the neck get nice and long. Hang out here or gently rock the crown of your head towards the left shoulder and then the right. Very nice. Let's come all the way back to center. Take the head back over the spine. Good. Take your hands either to the legs or slightly behind you. I'm going to turn to the side. Small bend in your elbows. Squeeze the elbows together. Engage your belly. Lift the heart. And at the same time, draw the knees towards the floor. Really working into your hip joints here. And on the exhale, release. Hug the knees in towards your chest. Lift the spine nice and tall. Bow the forehead. Good. Inhale, bring the gaze forward. Crisscross the legs. Sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders more over your hips. Inhale, hands overhead. Exhale, gently twist to the right. Good. Hang out here, or take your left hand to the outside of the right upper thigh. Good. Keep working your chin towards the right shoulder. If your neck is tight today, bring it to the left shoulder. On your next breath, hands overhead, body comes to center. Exhale, twist to the left. Good. Again, you can take your right hand, come to the outside of that left upper thigh. If you want, you can bring your chin to your left shoulder. For a little more intense stretch through the left side of the neck, bring it to the right. On your next breath, let's take it to center. Hands rise up overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Very nice. Sweep the legs through. Come into your tabletop. In tabletop, we'll make sure that our shoulders are slightly behind the wrist. And the reason that I always cue this is because when you think that you are on top of the wrist, you're actually past the wrist. So we're trying to not overextend the wrist joint. All right, so here we go. In tabletop, go ahead and find that belly drawing up to support the low back. And then flowing with your breath, inhale into cow. Exhale, rounding into cat. Take your time here, flow with your breath. Very nice. One more cat and cow. And then we'll take our time finding the first downward dog. Remember in the first downward dog to keep your knees bent and really push away from the top of the mat. Let each side of your torso get nice and long. Remember, if you're straightening your legs right at the beginning, you're sometimes overextending the back of your legs or maybe into your low back. So be kind to the back of your legs. Start with your knees bent. Really push energetically away from the top of the mat. And then start to move, maybe bending one knee at a time in the lower leg, or in your legs, excuse me. So we're slowly moving that lower body, gently awakening it. Very nice. Now in your own time, take a slow walk forward to the top of the mat, coming into forward fold. Again, don't worry about your legs being straight. Instead, let's think of how straight we can create the spine, right? So instead of a rounding in our spine, we encourage that nice long spine with belly and upper thighs coming together. See, I start with my knees slightly bent so that my hamstrings are not overworking here. And then I'm going to bring a little more weight into the front of my foot, less into the heel, so the hamstrings can relax a little more and my pelvis can tilt forward. Good. On your next breath, inhale into flat back, pull the shoulders away from the ears, exhale, fold. Good. With a deeper bend to our knees, we're reversing the swan dive. Exhale, hands to your heart center. Come into mountain. In mountain posture, let's check in with our bandhas. So starting with our feet, and then we'll engage the pelvis floor, engage the belly, your hands and forearms are working, and the head is directly over the spine. On the next breath, let the breath come in through the nose and out through the nose. Feel the breath in the back of the throat or the roof of the mouth. Now let's soften the knees a little bit and relax the shoulder blades down our spine. As we feel the next breath come in, let's bring our hands up overhead. And as we exhale the breath, hinge forward in the hips, coming into forward fold. On the inhale, rise into flat back, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and then exhale, fold. Step the right side back into your low lunge. Make sure your shoulders are sitting higher than your hips. Inhale into high lunge, drawing the right hip forward, left hip back. Exhale the hands back to props or the floor and sweep it into downward dog. Inhale into plank or kneeling plank. Flatten the feet, rise up with your heart, cobra. Exhale, shift your hips back over your knees, then curl the toes, come back into downward dog. In your own time, take a slow walk forward to to the top of your mat, coming into your forward fold. Inhale into flat back, nice long spine, pull the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, fold. Good. With a deeper bend to the knees, let's reverse the swan dive. At the exhale, bow forward into forward fold, hinging in the hips. Inhale, rise into flat back, pull the shoulders away from the ears, spine is nice and long. Exhale, fold. Doing great. Step the left side back into your low lunge. Make sure your knee is not passing the ankle on the right side. Inhale, reach up into high lunge. Drawing our left hip forward, right hip back. Wonderful. Exhale the hands back to your props or the floor. Sweep back into downward dog. Inhaling into plank or kneeling plank. Gently set the knees to the floor if you were in plank. Flatten the feet, rise up into cobra. Exhale, shift the hips back over the knees. Curl the toes, come back into your downward dog. In your own time, take a slow walk forward to the top of the mat, coming into forward fold. Inhale, rise into flat back. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, fold. Deep bend to the knees, reverse the swan dive. Hands to your heart center, coming into mountain. Hold here for a few moments, focusing into your breath. On the next breath, hands draw up overhead. As you exhale the breath, bow forward into forward fold. Inhale, rising into flat back, nice long spine. Exhale, fold. Very good. Step the right side back into low lunge. On the exhale, twist towards the left knee. Inhale, back into low lunge. Sweep it back into downward dog. Inhale into plank or kneeling plank. Little push of the toes. Exhale, chaturanga or kneeling chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Exhale, back into your downward dog. Very nice. Slow walk forward to the top of the mat, coming back into our forward fold. Inhale into flat back. Exhale, let it go. The deeper bend to the knees, reverse the swan dive. Gentle bow as you release your breath. Hinge in the hips, sitting back. Nice long spine. Inhale, rise into your flat back. Exhale, let it go. Here we go. Left side steps back into low lunge. On the next exhale, push out of the left hand, twist towards the right knee. Reach through the left knee. Inhale back into center and sweep back into your downward dog. Inhale into plank or kneeling plank. A little push of the toes. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, back into your downward dog. When you're ready, take that slow walk forward to the top of the mat, coming into forward fold. Sorry, I have to fix my shirt. All right. On the next breath, inhale into your flat back. Pull the shoulders away from the ears, belly's engaged. Exhale, fold. Deeper bend to the knees, reverse the swan dive. Hands to your heart center as you release the breath. Very nice. Coming back into mountain. Step the left side back into the long edge of your mat. So this is a 5-point star. Extend the hands up overhead and take the toes up to 45 degrees. We're going to go into our sun to moon flowers. Exhale, sweep through. Inhale, rise up. Flow with your breath here. Exhale, bowing forward. Inhale, reaching up. Notice how the bow is not through my spine rounding forward, but through flexion in the hips. Right? So I'm flexing here in the hips. I'm bending the knees. Very nice. One more time. We'll be exhaling into our warrior two. So inhale here. Exhale into warrior two, pivoting the front and back foot. Firm your inner thighs. Drop the left hip down. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Right shoulder is soft away from the ear. Exhale down into your low lunge. Very nice. Make sure your shoulders are sitting higher than your hips. Left hand to the inside of the right foot. Push out of the left hand, open the chest to the right. Hang out here with your hand at the low back and waist, or reach that right hand up over the shoulder. Make sure the shoulder head is not jumping forward, that you're squeezing your right shoulder blade to the left. Exhale back into your low lunge. All right, big transition here. We're moving all the way into warrior two. Reach your left hand forward. Inhale on the breath, reach all the way through. Transition back into warrior two. Very nice. Inhale, reverse the warrior one more time. Exhale, bring it all the way back into low lunge. We'll sweep it back into downward dog. You can hold in downward dog or take a vinyasa if that's in your practice. If you are new to what a vinyasa is, don't worry about it right now. Just do your downward dog. It's plenty of practice. It works great on strengthening your core. Okay, when you're ready, take a slow walk forward to the top of the mat, coming into forward fold. With the next breath, find flat back. On the exhale, bring it back into forward fold. Deeper bend to the knees, reverse the swan dive, hands to our heart center as we release our breath. Step the right side back for the beginning of your 5-point balance. So toes out to 45 degrees, hands reach up overhead. So this time, instead of sun and moon flowers, we're just gonna bring it down into a squat. Arms are to your side like cactus. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, squat. Okay, inhale, reach up. Exhale, squat. And challenge yourself here. Each time you take that squat, see if you can get a little bit deeper, right? Challenging your body. One more time. All right, this time, move into your warrior two as you exhale the breath. So pivot the front foot and the back foot. Very nice. Firm your inner thighs and drop the right hip down in line with left. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale down into low lunge. Inhale, hold here. Exhale, twist towards the left knee. Very nice. On the next breath, bring it back to center. Here we go, moving all the way into warrior two. Reach your right hand forward. Circle sweep it all the way back. Firm the inner thighs, drop the right hip down. Very nice. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, back into low lunge. Sweep it all the way back into downward dog. Hold there or take a vinyasa. It's up to you. When you're finished with your vinyasa, go ahead and find child pose. If you're in downward dog, go ahead and find child pose. Take rest for a moment. Hang out here a little longer if you need to be in downward dog, or I'm sorry, child pose, or move into your next downward dog. Inhale the right leg into the air for three-legged dog. Exhale, draw it through into low lunge. Make sure your knee is not past the ankle. You can walk your back foot deeper into the mat to get that alignment of knee and ankle. Let's walk to the left of our mat, moving into Prasarita. Big toes aligned, feet running parallel, lots of engagement in your inner ankle. As take a little more weight into the front of the foot, less into the heel, bringing the hip joint in line more with our ankle joint. Good. Come as shallow or as deep as you like here. Inhale into your flat back. Take the left hand to the floor or your prop. Bring the right hand to your waist and low back. Exhale, push out of the left hand, open the chest to the right, squeeze your right shoulder blade towards the left shoulder blade while keeping your right elbow pointing straight up towards the sky. Very nice. Reach your right hand away from you, palm facing away from you, thumb pointing up. Hang out here or reach that right hand up over the shoulder. Very nice. Exhale back into center. Right hand goes where the left hand was, left hand to your low back and waist. As you exhale your breath, push out of the bottom hand, open the chest to the left, squeeze your left shoulder blade towards the right. Hang out here or reach that left hand away, thumb points up towards the ceiling. Lift the hand up over the shoulder. Very nice. Inhale back into center. Deeper bend to the knees, walk to the front of the mat, coming back into your low lunge. Sweep it all the way back into downward dog. Hold here for 3 cycles of your breath. When you're finished with that, find child pose again. Okay, when you're ready, come back into downward dog. On the next breath, let your left leg lift for 3-legged dog. Exhale, draw it through into your low lunge. Make sure that the ankle has not passed the knee hasn't passed the ankle. Walk to the right of your mat, coming back into Prasarita. Okay, so this time we're going to come into Skandasana. Okay, so take your feet out to 45 degrees. And we're going to shift towards the back foot and then to the lead foot. We're going to try to make sure that when we're shifting left to right, we're not lifting our hips high. Okay, so I'm exaggerating right now. Okay, we want to, whatever your height of your hips are here at the foot, make it the same as you transition to the back foot. Remember, you can use props here, right? We can have something underneath our hands. If you need a little more challenge, take the hands to your shins and shift left to right, avoiding that lift in the center. Okay, next time that you come towards your left foot, go ahead and walk, walk, walk into your low lunge. Very nice. Step all the way up into forward fold. Inhale into flat back. Exhale, fold. We're moving into chair pose, so bend the knees, drop the hips, hands to your heart, lift into chair. Stay here or reach those palms forward. You choose. Where do you want to be? Each exhale, let's see if we can take the hips a little deeper. as long as the body doesn't have any pain when it's doing that. Inhale, straighten legs, hands rise overhead. Gentle bow as you release your breath, hinging in the hips. Inhale into flat back, nice long spine. Exhale, fold. Left side steps back into low lunge. Bring your gaze forward. We're moving all the way into warrior one, so the left heel is going to set to the floor. Come up. As you transition up, left hip draws forward, right hip draws back. Check in with your left knee to make sure it's not collapsing, right? So we're reaching through that rear knee. Very nice. Exhale, hands back to props or the floor. Step all the way up into forward fold. Inhale into flat back. Exhale, fold. Right side steps back into low lunge. Set the right foot more out to the right. Set the right heel to the floor. Here we go. Inhale, come up. Draw the right hip forward. Pull the left hip back. Very nice. Exhale the hands back to your props or the floor. Sweep it back into downward dog. Inhale into plank or kneeling plank. Good. Right here we're going to come into our side plank. So push down and away through your left hand. Inhale the right shoulder and hip towards the ceiling. If you were doing this with the knees to the ground, left lower leg is going to kickstand out. Right leg extends behind you and the right foot is to the floor. And you can reach that hand up if you like. Or maybe take it to the waist if that feels better. If you need a little more work here and both legs are lifted up, move your right foot up into the air. Good, wherever you are, bring it back into plank or kneeling plank. We're going to go to the opposite side. When you're ready, follow your breath. Inhale, lifts you into your pose, pushing out of the right hand. Make sure your right shoulder, you're not rotating in that at all. Okay? Good. Here we go. Exhale back into your plank or kneeling plank and find child pose. Good. Inhale into your tabletop. Exhale back into downward dog. In this downward dog, you can hang out there or take your left hand to your left hand to your right shin, looking underneath the right arm. Bring the left hand to the floor, right hand to your left shin, if you're there with me. Very nice. Bring it back into your downward dog. Slow walk forward to the top of the mat, coming into forward fold. Letting the top of the head drape towards the floor, coming into our Prasarita, or I'm sorry, Uttanasana, forward fold. On the inhale, let's find our flat back together. On the exhale, come back into forward fold. With a deeper bend to the knees, reverse the swan dive. Hands to your hearts as you release your breath. Left side steps back into high lunge. Left hip drawing forward, right hip drawing back. Reach through the rear knee. If that bothers your back, take a slight bow forward, changing the compression in your low back. Inhale, hands up overhead. Good, hang out here or reach the heart more towards the ceiling so it's a little more difficult coming into crescent. Good, exhale into warrior two. Inhale, lengthen the right leg, reach into triangle as you exhale the breath. Good, back of the head in line with the rest of your spine. Good. Squeezing the left shoulder blade towards the right, making sure the left hand is not going back behind you at all. Exhale, bend the right knee, coming into your extended angle. Maybe we're resting on the right upper thigh. Maybe the right hand is pressing into that right leg. Wherever it is, take the left hand to your waist, holding here. Good. Exhale down into your low lunge. Inhale into pyramid, slowly straightening the right leg. Remember, if it feels like your spine is rounding, keep a bend in that right leg. And there is always, right, we always want to make sure the spine is at its healthiest shape. If we're rounding forward, we're leveraging through a part of our spine. We want this movement to come through the flexion of the hips, from the movement of the hamstring muscles. Very nice. Bend the right knee. On your exhale, twist towards the right. Remember, hand can be at the waist if that's too much. Very nice. Exhale back into low lunge. Sweep it all the way back into downward dog. Very nice. Slow walk forward to the top of the mat. Exhale into forward fold. Relax the back of the neck, your jaw, the lips, the tongue. Let everything drape forward. Very nice. Inhale into your flat back. Exhale, fold. Deep bend to the knees, reverse the swan dive. Hands to your heart as you release your breath. Right side steps back into your high lunge. Remember, right hip draws forward, left hip draws back. We want them in the same plane. Belly's engaged, hands reaching up if you like. Good. Reach through the rear knee. If you want a little more here, coming into crescent. From here, we're moving all the way into warrior two, sweeping your left hand back, stepping the right heel back. Very good. Good. Inhale, lengthen the lead leg. Exhale, Trikonasana, triangle. Good. In your triangle, make sure that you're not locking out that left knee, that there's a tiny micro bend. If you can look at where your weight is in the left foot, notice if you have a lot of weight into the outside edge. Sorry to take my hand to my waist. Outside edge. If you do, can you bring a little more balance into that left foot? And then continue to shift your hips back, letting the left side of your body get nice and long. We don't want to round forward. Good. Right hand to the waist, or you can reach that right hand up over the shoulder. You choose where you'd like it to be. All right, exhale back into your extended angle. Okay, so remember we're taking the right hand to the waist. The left arm can rest on the left upper thigh, or we can bring that left hand to the inside of the left leg. Then on your next exhale, bring it back into your low lunge. Inhale, hold here. Exhale, twist towards the left knee. Inhale back into center, and go ahead and take your time. Find your pyramid pose, slowly straightening the left leg. All right, the right heel can be to the floor, or I like to do my pyramid with my right heel lifted. You choose what feels better in your body. Right hip and left hip need to be in the same plane. Think of lengthening your spine here. Find some space, especially in your low back if you can. Very nice. Exhale, bend the left knee, sweep all the way back into your downward dog. Hold there in downward dog, or take a vinyasa. All right, coming back into downward dog. We're going into our malasana, or garland pose. So you're going to widen your feet out, walk your hands back, and as you're walking your hands back towards your feet, bend the knees, drop the hips, and you're coming all the way back right here. I'm going to turn to the side. I want you to see the shoulders to hips. So we want to avoid rounding forward. We're working on the shoulders coming more over the hips and the pelvis drawing through, right? So this is called garland or malasana. You can hang out here, or if you're familiar with crow, you can go ahead and find your crow pose. Okay, I don't have the right clothes on. Long sleeves, it's really hard to do crane, but if you're familiar with crane and you want to do crane, then go ahead and find crane pose. When you're done, come back into your malasana, gate posture, or garland pose. Good. In our garland pose, let's work on lengthening the low back a little here. Reach through the crown of the head. Push your knees in towards your arms and let your arms push back. You're going to feel your inner thighs working. Your upper back, you're going to feel it working. It's great prep. Okay, from here, hands to props or the floor. Inhale, straighten the legs, come into your forward fold. Let the top of the head drape towards the floor. Maybe take opposite hand to the elbow for a little ragdoll. Good. Release the arms towards the floor, toe heel back to center. Deeper bend to the knees, reverse the swan dive. Hands to your heart as you release your breath. Okay, so if you have any conditions in the feet that coming up onto the balls of the feet is painful, then you'll be doing this without your heels lifted. Otherwise, your heels are lifted as you're in your mountain posture. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart. Squeeze your inner thighs together and see if you can start to move into a toe balance here. Good. If your heels were to the floor and this is too much, remember you can come into your squat right here. Okay, it's like a deep chair posture. You can use something underneath your heels for support if you want to take the heels off. Okay, working on your toe balance. Okay, hang out here, or on the exhale, gently twist towards the right. Hang out here, or come into your side crow. And I only recommend this to people that are familiar with side crow. Good. If you're in side crow, bring it back into your twisted broken toe. From twisted broken toe, come back to center. I'm going to turn forward. We're right here, squeezing our inner thighs together. Remember, you have a block. If it's too much in the feet, slide a block underneath your heels so you can stay in your broken toe without too much work in your feet. Okay, squeeze the inner thighs. Exhale, twist to the left. Hang out here or come into your side crow. From side crow, we come back into our twisted broken toe. From twisted broken toe, back into broken toe. Wonderful. All right. So with our heels lifted, we're going to try to stand. Okay, you can keep the block underneath your heels if that's needed, or move the block away. Think of drawing your heels towards one another and your inner thighs. We're going to try to come all the way into mountain. Hands to the heart. On the inhale. On the exhale, set the heels. Very nice. Inhale, sweep the hands up overhead. Gentle bow as you release your breath. Inhale into flat back. Exhale, fold. Very nice. Step it back into your downward dog. Hold in downward dog or take a vinyasa if that's in your practice. Good. From your downward dog, go ahead and set the knees to the floor into tabletop. Sweep your legs through and let's come into our seated forward fold, Dandasana. Very nice. I'm going to turn to the side. Okay. So, excuse me, just like when we're standing, we want to avoid this rounding forward. So as we bow forward and hinge in the hips, if you start to feel your middle spine or your low back start to round, take a bend to the knees, okay? And then just encourage that nice long spine. And then if you need to, you could slide a block underneath to support that shape, okay? We can reach the hands forward as long as we're not really rounding or straining to get to the feet. If you have a little bit of hypermobility like I do, if I'm pressing down into the floor with my upper thighs, I want to make sure the heels are not lifted. So heels maintain contact so I'm not hyperextending my knees. Okay, so here we go. Find your seated forward fold. Very nice. Hands to our upper thighs. We use that to lift up so the low back remains nice and stretched out. Okay, let's come into Janu Shirshasana. So alternate head to knee. Draw the left leg towards you. And we're going to engage the belly, push into our left hip, into the floor, tiny twist towards the right thigh, bow forward. Hang out here, or bring your left hand to the outside of the right foot. The thumb points down towards the floor. That way the left shoulder is internally rotating. Good, we can drop the forehead if we like, towards the knee. And take your right hand to the outside of the left leg. Push into the floor with that right hand. Let's switch sides. Okay, so if you had any pinching in the hips, take the leg that it has the bent knee, take that hip, move it slightly behind you so we avoid compression in the hip joints. Okay, and then push into the right hip into the floor, engage the belly. Small little twist towards the left thigh because I want my belly and upper thigh to work towards one another as I bow forward, avoiding rounding my spine. Right hand reaches forward if you want that, right? If you want a little more adventure, right thumb, points down. Yeah. And again, if you want to bow the forehead, go ahead and find that. Good. Bring your left hand beside your leg. Push into that floor to come up, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and come back into our butterfly. Right? It's where we started. Soles of the feet come together. You can take your hands to your legs, or maybe my preference is I like to take my hands back behind me with a slight bend to the elbow. Elbows, plural. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, or squeeze your elbows together. Engage the belly. Lift the heart as you work the knees towards the floor. Gently release out. Very good. Go ahead and scooch to the center of your mat. Help yourself all the way to the floor. I can't see my screen very well. Hello. Hello. Nice job. Okay, thank you. Okay, guys. So if you have any questions, make sure to be asking so that I can look at those questions before I sign off. If I don't see them or you come up with questions later, please message us. I'll be happy to answer, okay? Okay, guys, let's come all the way to the floor, okay? And we're gonna start in our pawn gesture. So it just means that you're on your back and your knees are bent, okay? Bring your arms to the sides, palms facing up. We'll check in with the knees, make sure they're in line with our hip points and that the feet are in line with the knees. All right, we're gonna come into bridge here. So when you move into bridge, you want to make sure there's no weight in the back of your neck. It's all into the back of your shoulders and the back of your head. So as we inhale, push into the heels, lift the hips towards the ceiling. So traditionally this is done with your hands threaded underneath you. You don't have to do that, especially if you have any shoulder or elbow issues going on. Okay, otherwise it's just here. Energetically, I'm pulling my heels towards me. So I'm pulling my heels towards me without actually moving my feet. And then as I inhale the breath, I'm lifting the pelvis higher. Now watch your knees that they don't splay out. Hang out here or thread those hands underneath you, right? Walk the elbows towards one another. Walk the shoulder blades towards one another. And then continue to hold here in bridge posture. If you want a little more work, extend the left leg away. So up to you where you want to be today. Good. If your hands are threaded, let's go ahead and release them. Set down the spine one vertebra at a time to the floor. Gently draw the knees towards you. Coming into Uttanasana, you can gently roll left to right if you like, or just stay at center if that's where your body needs to be. Okay, gently come back to center. We're moving into bridge one more time. Okay, so here we go. Hang out here with your arms to the sides as you press up on the inhale. Or thread the hands underneath you, walk the elbows and shoulder blades closer together. And you can extend the right foot away if you're wanting that added work today. So you choose how much you need in your practice today. And listen to the rhythm of your breath. Focus into the breath. 3 more inhales and exhales. Slow and controlled. When you're done with that, release the hands if they're threaded. Slowly come back to the floor one vertebra at a time. Good. Hug the knees towards the chest. Good. Remember, you can stay here at center or gently rock left to right. Okay, so we're going into pressing our heels towards the ceiling. For some of you, this might be it today. Like, this is plenty for you. For some others, we might need a little more. So if you like to do supported shoulder stand, go ahead and find that. Remember, we don't look left or right once we start to bear weight into our shoulders and the back of the head. So you can hang out here or come into plow. You choose where you want to be. Remember, draw the knees towards the forehead. Hands are to your low back and waist. Slowly roll down one vertebra at a time. Coming back to the floor. You guys made me tired today. Okay. Let's find a happy baby or a dead bug. Okay, remember, happy baby can be here to the outside of your feet. We can come to the inside of our feet. We can go through and wrap around for a little more work. So you choose. Happy baby can have movement. It can be still. Let's bring those feet to the floor. And go ahead and extend your legs and your arms away from you. And as you inhale the breath, I want you to engage every muscle in the body. Right? Reaching, stretching, and on the exhale, relax everything. Do that a few more times on your own. Okay, so go ahead and come into a shape you can relax in for your Shavasana. It could be laying on your back, you could lay on your side. If you prefer sitting for your Shavasana, or maybe on the belly, whatever feels best, go ahead and find that. And once you find that shape, go ahead and take a big inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Do it one more time. Okay, you check in and notice if you feel uncomfortable at all in the shape that you picked. Is your clothes comfortable? Do you feel like you have to move at all? If so, go ahead and do that, and then take another deep inhale and exhale once you get into the shape that feels very comfortable. All right. So I'm going to leave you here for your Shavasana. I'm going to leave you with a prayer for peace by St. Francis. And for your Shavasana, I encourage you to hang out here for at least 5 minutes, preferably 10. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying that we are born to eternal life. As always, the honor has been all mine. Namaste. Thank you.